Hello, I'm Matt Bergman, and you're listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast, episode 312. I'm here tonight with Jared Schneiderman,
Hey guys.
Kyle Wagner,
Hey, everybody.
Timothy Davis,
What's up?
and newcomer Rachel Wiley.
Hi, nice to meet y'all.
Yeah. So, guys, thanks for coming on tonight. And also, before we start, I want to plug our After Hours program, which happens right after this one. And if you want to join us on our After Hours program, you can hit us up at patreon.com and contribute a minimum of $1 per month, and you'll gain access to our After Hours program. Now, to start things off tonight, I think the number one topic of this week is Kyle Rittenhouse. This is a very this is very polarizing, right? I guess like with everything else that has happened in 2020, because it's like I feel like half of my Facebook feed, sees this guy as just like he was defending himself, right? And then the other half of my Facebook feed sees this, or not even the half. I don't know. There's a small percentage of people that are posting stuff like they just make it seem like Kyle just like randomly shot into a crowd of people and just got as many people as he could.
Like he was hunting liberals.
Yeah, like he pulled some sort of Columbine.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing. This is the most polarizing story. I thought, one thing is like every week it's something new, right? We don't even have time to digest the last shooting before there's another incident, and everybody's taking sides. Everything is left and right? It's almost clearly split down the line how you perceive all these stories as to who is in the right and who is in the wrong. But for me, even like the libertarian movement is splitting into left and right and taking sides on this stuff. I try not to really take a firm stance on these things in the first day or two, or even a week or weeks in, because I don't really know what happened. I see a short clip and I think I know what happened, but it's blurry, it's dark, it starts in the middle. I have no idea. The sequence of events is confusing to me, so I'm like still trying to form an opinion and get facts, and people are already posting memes about how the guy's either a hero or a monster. So it's a lot to process.
I feel like there's enough video though. Like there's so many different videos of what happened that, I mean, it's the cops and, just doing all this crazy shit. And there's literally just video after video. So, the kid gets chased down. They throw shit at him. I mean, he was clearly running for his life.
Well, the angle I'm hearing, the anti-Kyle Rittenhouse is saying that he shot somebody first, and that's why he was running away, and they were trying to chase after him because he had already shot someone, and so they were trying to disarm him.
Where's the evidence of that, though? I've seen there are, I believe, three victims or three people that he shot.
Yeah, and the first one guy that he shot was fucking with him for like I think it was like a couple hours before he ended up shooting the guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I saw videos of that guy walking around earlier in the night talking shit, like telling people, shoot me then. And he's just like,
shoot me, nigga, shoot me.
Yeah, he's throwing his arms up.
That's a white guy too.
Yeah, you could tell this guy's like ready to throw down right then, right?
Yeah.
And I think
and then you see him chasing him in the parking lot. He's the one that was shot in the parking lot.
Was that the guy who was also a pedo, right? He had some sort of like sexual abuse against a minor. Like he was in the sex offender registry.
I mean, that's not necessarily the most important part of the story,
Well,
did
he shoot a guy with a pistol? Did the pedo have the pistol? But somebody
no.
Sure, and he has a pistol.
No, that was
a different guy.
My bad.
But that dude had like 10 cases of domestic violence and all kinds of shit. The guy with the gun, the medic guy, supposedly.
Oh, he was a medic?
Well, he had a medic hat on and like a first aid kit on his back.
He was an Antifa medic, I guess.
Yeah.
Did anybody see? I saw one picture and it was like it looked like one guy was giving a blowjob in the background.
Oh, that was fake, dude.
Was it?
It's a meme. It's like a 4chan meme where they just Photoshop that guy getting head in the background of like everything. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
you never know what to believe on the internet.
I mean, it could easily be happening there. Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's insane.
a riot blowjob.
Yeah.
All right, Photoshop, got it.
Yeah, it's Photoshop, dude. I saw the same thing.
You know, I gotta say though, you watch the video of Kyle Rittenhouse, right? Could you imagine being in that kind of situation, right? And you know, because it seemed like he was like really like by himself when these shootings were happened. Like, you know, it's like, how did he break off from his group? Does anybody know that part of the story?
Yeah, I read a little bit about it. He was responding to a call, like a business owner had called and said, I need help protecting my business. I don't know why he was called or his friends were called, but they went there to protect this guy's like garage service or something. And the guy had multiple garages. So like once the protesters had moved on from one, he was like running to the other location to defend that. And protect this guy's business. But yeah, very, very bizarre story. It's like, why would you call a 17-year-old like far away to come?
You know,
Well,
my
CNN,
understanding-
CNN said that it was a Facebook group that posted that they needed help protecting, and he only came 17 miles, but they're saying he came from another state, which, you know, just 17 miles away. But they said that it was some kind of posting on Facebook that was calling to arms, militia.
Oh,
Which, you know, if you need to, because if the police aren't, you know, overwhelmed, then why not have a militia come? It doesn't matter. A militia is a militia, even if they're 17. In the
Yeah,
Revolutionary
that would
War,
be
they were 14.
that would be an interesting twist if it was some sort of patriot group or something like
Mhm.
that, and he was part
I
of
wish I
a.
knew what group was the one that posted on Facebook, but that's what CNN said. So, and of course they try to make it, you know, a bad thing having a militia, but
Yeah,
until you need one.
I was going by the statement that his lawyers released, and he got the same lawyer as Nicholas Sandman, the
Mhm.
Yeah,
you
I
know
heard about that.
who got paid.
Who got paid?
Yeah, so I guess that legal team has a good track record, and
Yeah, I'd want him on my team.
I think his GoFundMe was 97,000. The last I heard that he's raised in legal fees.
Didn't they?
So-
I heard they took it down. Is it still?
I
up?
heard they took it down as well.
Oh, I think it was yesterday morning I heard that, and I was all, whoa.
Well, I
that's a
think
lot.
they have another site that's not GoFundMe. That's what I remember seeing
Hmm.
from the article. That you know, I don't think GoFundMe is supporting him. I think they're raising money for the the people he shot. But anyway,
So GoFundMe can cut you off. They're like, no, that's not
Yeah.
worth it.
yeah,
No, they were censoring money.
yep,
They are.
yep.
I guess
Wow.
they don't want the cut of
Everything
that.
is politicized.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
very, very
Yeah.
politicized. So, you know, I think my initial reaction was it looked like defense. Just the fact that he's on the ground, getting kicked in the head, and then getting hit with the skateboard. It looks like self-defense to me. I don't know. What'd you all
Well,
think?
yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to say was, you know, the only thing that it sounds like the only like legal, you know, like legal law that he's guilty of was that, you know, you're not supposed to carry a loaded firearm in that state until you turn 18. You know, he was 17. But
There's
You
an
know-
exemption for that for long rifles. That was my understanding. That's what the defense had put
Well-
down in one of their statements anyway. That
well,
you can,
it's obviously, you know, that's a bullshit law. You know, that's like it's an infringement. You know, and then the other thing I want to say was like, if you could imagine yourself in that situation, he handled it like perfectly. You know, couldn't you just imagine freaking out and just starting to shoot everybody because you've got all these
Everybody.
people yelling at you.
Right.
Well, yeah, and there's
Yelling at you
the
saying,
one.
"Get 'em."
Yeah, there's like the one circumstance where the dude with that ended up having the handgun in the end, he was charging him, and he didn't actually initially shoot the guy until he pulled up his shirt and tried to go for the gun, and then that's when he fired the round into his arm, and it didn't
Wow.
actually kill him. He just shot him in the arm. So I mean, the kid wasn't. This idea that he was just spraying and praying into a crowd of people is just not.
Right.
It's not backed up by what we see in the video at all.
And did the skateboard attack happen after he shot or before? Because CNN is saying that they were hitting him with the skateboard to stop him from shooting people, which that doesn't make sense because I would be running from a gun instead of running to a gun. But
That's what I said. The timeline is confusing to
Yeah.
me, but
Well,
I thought he had.
I think the parking lot shooting happened prior
Yeah.
to the skateboard. game.
Yes, it did.
yes. And then he
So-
was
Oh.
running and everyone was chasing him. He fell. And then that's when like the first dude drop kicked him and then the skateboard guy came up right behind him.
Well, you know,
Right.
here's one of the things too, right? So somebody could have just been there and walked up to the parking lot and then heard one of the multiple people say, "Oh, that guy's killing people," you know? And it could be that the skateboard guy didn't know what was happening. It could be that he didn't know what happened. He just believed what he was told, and he actually thought that this guy was a nut, and he thought he was doing some heroic act of valor. Could be. I don't know.
No, that's
Could be, or
possible.
it could just been fucking dumb. Like it's
Yeah, I mean,
retarded.
It is stupid to do that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
somebody
but
tried to tell me it was a citizen's arrest, and I was like, is the citizen's arrest, does that involve hitting a guy in the back of the head with a skateboard? Is that how you're supposed to do it? You know what I mean?
no, yeah,
That looks like an assault to me. I don't.
Yeah, honestly, all that stuff's bullshit. Because I mean, he was obviously running away. He's
running away and then got knocked down. He's on the ground.
He's running away. He's got a gun, you know.
Yeah.
And
Right. If his purpose
you're
was to
stupid enough
just
to chase somebody with a rifle, play stupid games, get stupid prizes.
Right. This
So
isn't a
when
guy
he
that's
was
like
shooting, was he down on the ground like just shooting, or was he standing up and shooting? I mean, this.
He was
He's
on the
down.
ground for a couple.
Oh,
of them.
so he was defending himself.
Yep.
Dude, and
That's
for
what I'm
17,
saying.
he was an
Yeah.
excellent shot. I mean, it really is unbelievable. Like he
Yeah, he
didn't
was
hurt
cool.
anybody else. Just the people
And
that
I'm
were
not laughing
attacking
because
him.
people
Right.
died, but it's just a situation that wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea of making this kid out to be like a hero.
But you have to think about self-defense. I mean, because
No,
it
it's
happened to any one of us.
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Not gonna
I mean,
make it-
Well,
right,
Ugh.
yeah. I mean, I think it's a good example of self-defense, and I think, it could be a lesson to people that's like, look, I mean, this is real life. I mean, if you're going to attack somebody,
Mhm.
you can't just assume that they're going to withhold and let you beat the shit out of them if they have a weapon. I mean, they're going to use that fucking weapon. It's not just for show. It's not just to like threaten people. It's not just to dissuade, ideally it'll dissuade people, but in this case it didn't. So it's like,
Dude,
maybe
maybe
but I don't like the idea of
grew up
making this
watching
guy
too
out to
much
be
MacGyver.
yeah.
or like too much fucking James Bond where people don't get shot, I guess,
Well, you remember the case from a couple weeks ago, Garrett Foster, the libertarian activist who had a rifle, and he got
Right.
shot out of a car window, I think. He had the gun at a low ready position, as I recall.
Oh, that was in Austin, and they
Yeah.
twisted that around, and he was pushing his wife in a wheelchair,
Yeah.
and they made that out to be until the facts came out, and so yeah,
Right. And in that situation, you had a guy drove his car into a crowd of people.
exactly.
And then somebody approached him with his gun in low ready, like you said,
hmm
to try and like diffuse the situation or tell the guy to fuck off or whatever. And then the guy in the car shot him. So,
hmm
I mean, that's a different situation. Of course, people will try and make comparisons with that one. And then there's one event that's somewhat similar that just happened where a guy at the Portland rally, there was a Portland pro-Trump rally, I think it was yesterday. And this guy that was a member of the Patriots Prayer Group, which is some sort of right-wing pro-Trump organization. I'm not sure all the facts of the story. They haven't really come out yet, but apparently someone just shot him in the chest and then dipped.
Did you see the video?
No. What happened in the video?
Dude, it's disgusting, man. The guy just walks right up to him, like he's walking across the street. He walks right up to him and just point blank range.
Oh.
Yeah, just nailed him and then basically just walked away.
Wow.
And I
Jesus.
saw a little while ago on Facebook, like they identified the guy. He was the same guy that got shot like a week ago, and he was on the news. Like he said, he tried to stop a scuffle between like an Antifa member and a Trump member, and sort of similar to this shooting. Like the guy got shot in his elbow. So like in the news interview, he had a bandage wrapped around his elbow, and he was just talking about fascist people and yada yada yada.
Like one of those
so
false
apparently
flag
today-
actors, crisis actors. I mean,
Who
for him to
knows?
be on the news and then go up and shoot somebody, that's kind of brazen.
Either that or he's just some fucking crazy dude that's at all the events there. I don't know.
Right?
Well, some people are
He's a
attracted
groupie.
to these events. There are people that are like circling on their calendar. They're like, "What city is this in? I got to get to this."
They have meetups.
They have,
Is
yeah.
meetup
They're
even a
like,
thing?
and there's people on the far right that get off on it, and on the far left that really are looking for these conflicts. It's not
don't
me.
you think a lot of the rioters
It's
they
not
don't give
you.
a fuck about police brutality? They're just like having fun breaking windows.
No
and, like,
shit.
Well, they just have nothing
know.
else to do, right? They're probably unemployed. They probably have nothing going on in their lives. I mean, if you it's not like Family Guys going out here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just people that have nothing better to do. And, it's just sad, really.
All right, I think they're very passionate about their respective causes. A lot of them are. But yeah,
some
like
what
I
is
said,
that? I mean, look, I can't psychoanalyze all these people, but where is that passion? I remember being like a young college kid and being all into like, communism and all that kind of shit. But it was just like a factor of me being like a young person that had like, wanted to get into a cause just to get into it, I don't know. I mean, I can't collectivize all these people together. They might have different motivations, but
Sure.
I mean, you've just got to be a complete idiot to just be in that situation where you're running at a guy with a gun or,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Well,
wild.
I look at one thing that I think about is just racial tension. And you see these clips that are black and white from the 60s with the fire hoses and the racial tension that with the race riots. And it's like, 50 years later, we still have racial, every bit as much, I think, racial tension as ever. I mean, arguably, I don't
think it's
know.
worse. Like,
I
think
is
it
it
used to
worse?
be
I
really
mean, it was
bad.
so bad.
I think
Well,
the
no,
media 24 hours a day pushing it constantly, a white cop, a black man. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so, because
Yeah.
when you go out in the streets and talk to your neighbors and friends and just, coworkers, it's not,
Exactly.
at least with me. But the second I turn on the news, I'm like, fuck, here we go. Here's the talking points. Always black, white, black, white, black, white.
Mhm.
But who doesn't get coverage? The Hispanics. There's a lot of Hispanics that shoot each other up, and cops shooting Hispanics, especially here in Texas. So Hispanics.
Oh, right. You're
We
near
acknowledge you.
we acknowledge. Yeah, they don't. Asians, Indians,
Yeah.
Hispanics.
Yeah.
No coverage. No one
Just
cares.
blacks and whites.
Blacks and whites is very tense.
I guess
and,
they're other.
My friends are very divided. My friends are divided between left and right, and so there's a perception that the cops are just hunting blacks, and then on the other side, it's just like, well, if these people would stop committing crimes, none of this would be happening. So I get that's the divide that I kind of have to deal with and navigate. And I'm like, yeah, it's not that simple, guys. But
No.
there is a big income disparity too. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the income numbers, but I think the black median income is about half what whites are. Household income. I'm remembering 70,000 for whites and it's like 35,000 for blacks, which is very, very low. And I remember first, like when the Freddie Gray riots happened in Baltimore, I was like, it kind of made me aware of this. I guess I always knew about it, but there's this underclass of people in the city that are very, very poor and really, really struggling. And there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of tension bubbling there. And when Freddie Gray happened, it just, the lid blew off. And it was like, oh my God, these people are like out in the streets, like they're angry. And it wasn't just, I don't think it's just anger about Freddie Gray and just anger about the latest shooting. I think it's anger about an economic situation that's even deeper and a real problem in this country with a wealth gap. And I don't know.
Especially where you live too. If you can't just uproot your family and move to a safer place, because that costs money and jobs. And, a lot of people say, well, they should just move. It's not that easy, So I think that has a lot to do with it too. Their neighborhoods and they're just.
Right. And they'll say, the left is big about the wealth gap. Like they're always talking about the big gap between rich and poor, the disparity. And certainly we have like people that are just at the moon as far as wealth. I watch these shows like Selling Sunset on Netflix, and which is a Beverly Hills.
That, dude?
Yeah,
I saw past that earlier.
It's a Beverly Hills based show, and it's these people have so much money. All their stuff is designer. Their cars are all like, BMW is like a low end car for them, and huge houses, and it's just incredible wealth. And I don't really worry too much about the top level. I don't care that Jeff Bezos has $200 million or is worth $200 million. But the problem is when you have the lowest level that's barely scraping by or not getting by, that is a severe social problem that has to be addressed. And that's what I'm really worried about in this country is we have so many people. What's that?
I said, all right, comrade Kyle.
No, I don't.
I'm in
I
your
don't
army,
want to.
Kyle. I believe the same
No.
thing.
I
I'm
don't
just
want
kidding.
to redistribute the wealth from
Yeah,
rich
yeah,
to
yeah.
poor, but I do think that's something, we need to
Give
think about
opportunity.
what can be done to help people that are at the bottom get a little bit out of that.
Well, yeah, it's
off
not
the
really important
bottom.
how much. I think the wealth gap is kind of a misnomer because it kind of presents the idea of that there's this zero-sum game and there's this pie of money that's available. And, if Jeff Bezos has this large piece of the pie, that means that, this poor person here can't have that because Jeff Bezos has that. But that's just not how wealth works, right?
Right.
When you said
Just
zero
print it.
sum game, it just reminded me
Well.
of Status Ned, because Status Ned always says it's a zero sum game. It's a zero sum game.
It's not, though. I mean, that's just
I
not.
know.
That's not how it works. I mean,
But you know what he would say in response? He would say it's a zero sum game.
Well,
And when you say something,
well, he
he'll
would
say
be
it's a
wrong.
zero sum game.
he would be
But,
wrong.
I mean, Jeff Bezos has lifted a lot of people, enriched a lot of people. Amazon has enriched a lot of people.
yeah, of course.
It's made consumers much better off, and it's given jobs to probably hundreds of thousands of people.
They should
So
pay taxes.
Not just because of him, but how many people are going to move out of the cities now and really make it worse for all those poor people that live in the cities? Because all the jobs, all the rich people, anybody with money right now, they're going to leave the city. Like you see it even here in Philly, it's happening in New York and LA, and everyone's just leaving. And it is going to leave this void of jobs and other things that would help a community and help people get out of their situations. So it's just really sad all around. This whole thing sucks.
I've heard
Yeah.
people are fleeing New York City. Have you guys heard that? I've heard there's like U-Hauls after U-Hauls.
Yeah, I saw that this morning on Twitter. They were
Serious?
showing the out front of the line out front of the U-Haul place was just crazy.
Is it
Wow.
Well,
expensive or?
I don't
their
know
rent
what
prices. I think are ridiculous.
I don't
depending
know
on
if
where
it's
you're
the
at.
rent. I heard the restaurants have closed. They've had restaurants that have been closed down for COVID for months and months, and so they've had those that I guess are not. A lot of them are not coming back. So maybe that you have some loss there. I don't know. I honestly don't know. So why people are
there's
fleeing
probably a
New
number
York
of
City.
factors. There's probably a number of factors, but a
Right.
lot of it is like, why would you? I think I think due to COVID, people are realizing like, well, we can actually conduct business pretty well online.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right? We
Yeah.
can hold meetings, we can hold Zoom meetings, we can do most of the stuff that we do in person online. Why would I pay for the overhead of renting an office space in the middle of Manhattan
Yeah,
when I
where
can just
someone
do
might
this shit
riot and
online?
destroy it.
Yeah, well, there's that too. But it's like, why am I paying these absurd rental fees for office space or a home or whatever when I could just conduct the same business, make the same amount of money, and don't pay the overhead? Like I think people are realizing that like, oh, I actually don't need this shit. So like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
this
that's
is going
part
to
of it.
change the corporate world. There's
Yeah.
a lot of businesses going. We can save millions of dollars
Right.
and have our workforce. We don't need a big office.
I mean, my company is a very small company, but we've gotten rid of our office. We had an
Wow.
office in like an incubator. We had like a whole room in the incubator where like some of the people just have desks and shit.
Yeah.
But we've downgraded to just like have like one desk, and like we have the option of renting out a conference room if we need it. But yeah, I mean, why pay for that? I mean, not that it's expensive in Baltimore, but still, like, why pay for it when everyone can just work from home?
Yep. This is definitely going to start a working from home sort of movement. I think. I don't think it's going to stop. I think a lot of people are going to continue to work from home.
Regular families too, they don't want to be around all the bullshit. When you see all these people rioting and then you worry about the government shutting everything down. So around here, you see a lot of New York plates now because I'm in the suburbs of Philly. And when you go to you always see a lot of New York plates at the Jersey Shore in the summer, but there's like, I don't know, 3 times as many now. And everybody hates it. Everyone's like, oh, all the fucking New Yorkers are here. It's kind of hilarious. But you can't blame them for wanting to get out of New York. I mean,
Yeah.
If I had my family up there, I would definitely leave for sure.
Hey, did you guys see the video of the woman eating dinner in DC and getting surrounded by the protesters?
Yes, that was
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was I don't think we put that
Wow.
on the board, but that was nuts. They wanted her to, for any the listeners that didn't see the story, it was a BLM group, and they wanted her to raise her fist in solidarity with their cause, and she was like eating dinner, and they're just screaming in her face, telling her to raise her fist, and I don't know if she didn't want to or she was confused, but she wasn't doing it, and they were just getting really angry. So
Well, from what I heard, she said that she didn't want to because she was, while she sympathized with the cause, she didn't want to be like cajoled into like, raising her hand for something. It's, very fucking Hitlerian. Like
That's what I was about to say. It's very Hitler youth-ish.
Hitlerian.
Hitlerian. Patent that one.
That should be the title.
Copyright it.
Is that the title? All right.
Hitlerian.
Yeah.
Well, those kind of videos, they go viral. That goes all through the whole conservative sphere. Everybody's watching this. We've all seen it. It's amazing how like one little incident like that, half the country sees it, and everybody's talking about it. But it's scary, and I've heard different people talk about what they would do. I've had some people say, I'd give them flip them the bird with both hands. I'm like, it's easy to
stunned.
It's easy to say from the safety of the internet that you would tell them to F off, but
like that show, What Would You Do?
Yeah.
Shit's so fake. Like, am I being punked? Seriously.
I think I'd have to go to the bathroom and
Excuse me.
I'll be right back. Back.
I mean, honestly, what that lady did, it took a lot of courage to
Good
not.
for her.
Yeah, I think some other diners were intimidated into raising their fists.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, leave us alone.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, damn, dude, I'd be like worried. I'd be like, maybe I should, just so I don't get the shit kicked out of me by this
a high five.
gang of people.
Just a high five.
Yeah.
Not.
I don't know, man. If I had a rifle, though, it'd be another story.
You'd be like Kyle Rittenhouse,
just eating my fucking pastry and sipping on my tea with an AK on my back. Be awesome. All right, what's next, Matt?
I don't know, Jared. Okay, so Kyle wanted to talk about coverage of the RNC. So the other night we were doing an anarchy bar, and a couple of us were on there, and we were also kind of like watching the RNC and talking amongst ourselves. But Kyle was going back and forth between CNN and Fox News, right, Kyle?
That's right. Yeah, and I had it on mute because I was doing the anarchy bar and I didn't want to disrupt that. But Trump was speaking. It was his big speech, and Fox News has they're kind of their headlines at the bottom. Whatever he says, it's like Trump says, America is the greatest economy the world has ever seen, right? And then I flip over. This is Fox News, and then I flip over to CNN, and everything Trump says they would undermine, like. Trump fact check. Trump downplayed COVID-19, and didn't do anything to mitigate it or whatever. Like everything was like to undermine what he was saying. So it's just amazing how the news coverage is skewed for that particular audience. I mean, people used to think CNN was neutral. Does anybody think CNN is neutral anymore? They can't. No. Right. Although the Fox News people think Fox News is neutral. So, I mean, they say fair and balanced, and they're like, I remember talking to, when I was involved with the Republican Party, some Republicans, I remember this lady being like, oh, they're totally fair and balanced. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like basically it might as well be run by the GOP, like this is crazy. So, yeah, I think the CNN audience thinks that they're not getting a skewed view, but they certainly are.
Well, I guess I think CNN was probably a little bit more balanced when you had establishment candidates in both the GOP and the DNC, right?
That could be.
So because I really think that's it.
Yeah, so, they weren't as overtly anti-Romney as they are anti-Trump.
Yeah,
well, that's
yeah,
sure.
like exactly, because like Trump, you can say a lot of bad things about Trump, but he's not really establishment, right? He pisses them off. The Republicans didn't want him. He beat them at their own game in their own party, and then he took on the Hillary Clinton establishment, and he beat that too. So
Yeah,
he did.
yeah, I think you raise a good point. CNN may not have been as one-sided back then as they are now. They might have been.
I do remember though. I had a family member who would call CNN. He was like a Republican guy, and he would call CNN the Clinton News Network.
yeah, I used to call him that.
So this was like back in the 90s. So I mean, I don't know if it's been as bad, but it's definitely always kind of had, at least in some people's minds, a left wing or Democratic slant to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's
So-
them and MSNBC as well, right?
Well, MSNBC is clearly fucking. I mean, I think they admit that they're lefties. Like, I don't think they. That's the thing about CNN is they pretend to be unbiased and then are clearly not. And I think MSNBC just kind of comes out and says that they're not biased, or they're not. They are biased.
Yeah.
So it's the disingenuousness that makes it. Is worse in my opinion.
I'm
And recently, I mean, they just out of the gate hate Trump. I mean, they have Trump bashers every day. I have to tune in just to hear what's the latest. He's a liar. He's an idiot. One day they were talking about during a hurricane, he was asking what way the hurricane rotates. And he said, is it like a toilet? And that's what his advisor that used to work for him was telling CNN. And I'm going, oh my gosh. So he really burns bridges when he, I guess, fires people or whatever. But don't they have to sign a waiver where they can't like talk shit about him for a couple of years, or no?
I'm not
know.
sure. I'm not
What do
sure.
you call that? A disclaimer? Not a disclaimer.
A non-disclosure agreement?
Non-disclosure. I would think.
NDA.
You can't disclose how much of a dumbass he is.
Right. They'll pay him off.
Maybe.
Lump sums.
Yeah.
So
You have to. Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
don't know how you
Sorry.
guys watch any of this shit.
watch
CNN,
it.
Republican National Convention, any of it. Like I don't know. I don't even have regular news in my house anymore. I don't have regular
Listen to it in
cable.
my car on the Sirius satellite. You always got to hear what the other side's talking.
I do that as
Libertarian
well.
news. I wish we had a 24-hour libertarian network. It'd be awesome.
I do too. I listen to this guy Michael Savage.
Yeah, he's
It's like-
pretty good.
He's a far right guy. He's a nationalist, but I don't know why I listen to it. But the Savage Nation podcast is his show, and I definitely don't always agree with him. I come from the Ron Paul school of republicanism or libertarianism, and so he just is. He's too much for me, but that's who I listen to for my right wing news. And my left wing news, I listen to Sirius XM's Progress Radio, and also
Oh.
Urban View. They have very far left
I'll
views.
check them out. I've noticed them on the dial and I'm all, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Progress
Trump
News.
bashing as well, but it's same kind of concept. I just listen to sometimes to get the full spectrum. And to be clear, like when I was watching the RNC, I really only watched Trump's final speech, and it was on mute because I was doing the podcast with these guys. So I mean, I had it on because it was a big event, but I
I'm
don't
sure it was a
regularly.
lot of this.
Oh yeah, a lot of hand
It's
waving.
huge,
Yeah,
huge.
yeah, it's weird
Everything's
to watch it.
good.
And he had like a zillion American flags, right? That like the entire back of the stage is lined with
55.
was it 55?
It was 55. One of the conspiracy groups. There's some kind of significance. I don't know what it is.
Oh, is this a Q thing?
Yes, it is. I didn't want to go there.
Well, you
I'm
went
not-
there. Let's.
What does 55 mean? I want to know. What is it?
I haven't made it to that level. It's kind of like Masons. I'm only at level 3.
Oh yeah.
I'm not blood in, blood
Where's
out.
Schlegel when you need him? Is Schlegel a Q guy yet? Is he a Q guy yet?
What? So can someone explain the basics of QAnon
Oh
to
my
me?
God.
Because so is it that Trump is with the pedophiles or against the pedophiles?
I think he's against him.
He's against.
He eats
He's-
his pizza backwards. That's what they
Right.
say.
Did you guys
What does
hear
that
the
mean?
the reporter when they asked Trump about the QAnon thing?
What do you say?
No.
Oh, it was hilarious. He was like, well, he said, I don't know, I don't remember exact words, but he was basically just like, well, these people sound like they just want to save the world. isn't that a good thing or whatever? And like the reporter didn't know what to say.
That's funny.
It was hilarious.
Well, they do believe that JFK Jr. is still alive, and I'm all
Right. Yeah, I think they believe they believe JFK Jr. is still alive, and he's leading like a I guess a group of like pedophile killers or something, or like people that are trying to uncover pedophiles. And
What is
Trump
this,
is like Trump is like the grand master basically of it.
Wow.
him. Wow.
Huh?
They
No,
picked
Trump.
him?
Yeah. Well, Trump is like their guy, like that's on the inside, So secretly, he's unmasking and uncovering pedophilia.
Is this like the
at
Flat
highest
Earth
levels.
Society? Are they like
pretty-
flat earthers?
I mean, it's just as stupid, but yeah.
There's a lot of Ron Paulers in there, though. That's why I kind of was like, let's see
Really?
what it's about. Oh, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not surprised.
I think they were just grabbing onto, okay, if we could, because a lot of Ron Paulers think outside of the box, see things for what they are. And I think that was a way to get the Christian Trump people to kind of jump on board to, keep it going, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed there is some crossover with like some sort of Christian dogma stuff with this. Like it sort of bleeds into like some sort of Christian shit. I don't know the exact stuff.
Aren't they catching a lot of like sex traffickers right now?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that all of the
that stuff is
cabal,
happening.
that's what they're really pushing on YouTube. There's Fall of the Cabal, and it's a 10-part series, and it talks about pedophilia, the Illuminati, all of, the things that we pretty much know about. And it's putting it out to the general masses in a first grade, second grade form, to where they can understand it and not just blow their mind right off the bat. So it's opening people's eyes in a sense. So I'm on board with it, is, to get people awake. But
Where do I go to learn more?
go to YouTube
Twitter.
and Fall of the Cabal. It's
Well, no, they got banned off Twitter, I think.
I think you're right.
no, you can still find that Fall of the Cabal series.
Fall of the
I just mean
Cabal.
like they've banned a lot of
Google it and
QAnon
check it out.
guys.
You'll like it. But it
All
has
right.
a lot of Pizzagate stuff, and so it's pretty in there. It talks about Ellen DeGeneres, and it's ballsy.
Wait, does it talk about Wayfair?
Yeah, no, that came out after.
If I have some time to kill, I will definitely check it out. So
Yeah, you
how
definitely
does one eat a
should.
pizza backwards? Is it
Well,
crust first?
Yeah, yes.
Is that right?
That's what they have a picture of him doing it in like 1989 or something like that. Pizza Hut pizza. It was a commercial that Trump was in.
Was
So
it
he
for the
No,
used
yeah,
stuffed
I've seen
crust?
that.
I don't know if they had
No, I
stuff.
think it was like the crust is so good that I'm going to eat it first or some shit like that. And it was Trump.
And that means
There's
something.
also a pizza commercial with Khrushchev. Have you ever seen that one? The
No.
former like the last guy that led the USSR before it collapsed. It was
He
Khrushchev,
did a
right?
pizza Hut
Oh no,
commercial?
Gorbachev.
Is it a Russian?
Yeah, he did a pizza commercial. I
Wow.
swear to God, look it up. Google YouTube Gorbachev
Yeah, like I remember when that
Pizza
happened.
Hut.
Oh, the bird poop birthmark guy.
Yeah, he had the
Yeah.
weird birthmark thing.
I remember him.
Yeah.
I watched that after Fall of the Cabal.
There you go. Your week is booked. While you're at it, watch Plandemic.
Planned.
Pretty good.
Oh my God.
And then watch Loose Change.
Oh, let's go. That's a good one. Oldie but goodie. And then Endgame to end it all.
Endgame.
That's some Alex Jones shit. I wonder what he's up to now. I don't know. I don't know.
He got kicked off of like all social media, right? So he's got to have some alternative platform. Maybe just hit direct to his website.
He has his own app. I'm not sure if it's still allowed on the Google Play Store and Apple Store. He might have gotten banned off of Apple.
I wonder if he's
Wow.
Q. Who knows?
See a cute guy?
Guys, it's me. I'm back, bitches.
Oh, he's got to be into that, right?
Oh, yeah.
How could he not be into it?
I don't know. I lost all cred when I went to one of his, he had a sermon here in Dallas, and I asked him about chemtrails, and he kind of, it went south. I was like, okay, Alex, I'm done with you and your bullhorn and your bullshit. But
Oh.
one of them, he opened up some people's eyes, so that's good.
Yeah, it's hard to sort through. It's hard to sort the truth from the fiction sometimes and the exaggerations.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. I mean, there's people that they believe everything they hear on the internet, and then other people that don't believe any of this stuff, and some of it's true. And
Mhm.
It's just hard to know the truth from fiction, but anyway.
It's also how you convey the information too. He's such a screamer. You can get more flies with honey than with vinegar, Alex. Come on. I don't know.
It's true.
Yeah, he is a character.
All right, what's next,
No,
Matt?
yeah. So next, so it just came out recently that apparently only 9,210 of all the COVID deaths didn't have like
Underlying conditions.
underlying conditions. So this what like proves that COVID is even less deadly than they were saying, right?
It's even
Yeah,
more bullshit.
94% they said had 2 to 3 other underlying conditions. And they said a majority of them were nursing home victims, or they were in the nursing home. So
Wow. Well, that's good. I don't know if it's good news or bad news. It's good on the
think it's
disease
great.
front, it means it's less deadly than even we thought. It's bad news in the sense that we were lied to and the threat was exaggerated, maybe.
Well, I mean, I've talked to people about it, like normie friends and stuff, and like when I say it's probably not. Like, I don't think COVID's as scary as they're saying. Some people are just like, I don't know. It's just totally politicized. I feel like a lot of people just kind of look for confirmation bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
And,
I think of it like, the Iraq war and the weapons of mass destruction. They lied and lied and lied. And then they're like, it's not as bad as we thought. We're sorry. But meanwhile, we're now invested in this huge war on terror. Now we're on the war on COVID. Look, I hate getting into wars. Drug, COVID, all of it. I'm tired of them. The invisible enemy.
The Iraq war's still going, right? Or
Yep.
I heard Trump was going to pull some troops out. I thought I saw a headline.
Out of Afghanistan, he did.
This was a new headline that I just saw this week. I could have sworn I saw something, but
Wasn't he trying to pull him out and Congress was blocking him from being
Yep.
able to pull the troops out? I didn't even know that was possible, but obviously it is. Don't you think
Yeah, I
that's
think
what
it
they
depends
probably
on
hate
the-
about him the most, though? Is like, that's the only thing. They don't care about Trump's economics or anything like that. Like, it's the foreign policy stuff that makes all the news stations hate him, the establishment hate him, the
Yeah.
warmongers hate him. Like, that has to be the biggest thing, because everything else, he's the same as everybody else. Like, I mean, his economic plans aren't that much different from Bernie Sanders. I mean, they're just really not. So it's like, I don't know.
Trump
Yeah.
administration to cut U.S. troop presence in Iraq by 1/3.
Wow.
This just came out a couple days ago. So
I have not heard.
I feel like we've heard that
that
same. Yeah, I feel like we've been hearing that same news story for the last 3 years, though.
all right, it says there are currently 5,200 American service members stationed in Iraq, which is a lot lower than I thought.
Mhm.
And then
In
they're
Iraq.
planning to reduce that number to 3,500 over the next 2 to 3 months. So that's
It's better than nothing, I guess.
So, but does that include the total in Afghanistan? Or
no, that's just
in
Iraq.
Oh, see, I wonder what
Um,
in Afghanistan.
Okay, it says we still have 8,600 U.S. troops in Afghanistan.
So we got about 11,000 troops over there.
That is a lot less than I thought. I honestly thought it was a lot higher than that. Our troop counts in Germany were like 50,000 or something like that. Maybe even more than that. So, I mean, that's to me is good news that maybe these conflicts are finally coming to an end.
Where the pipelines are already built.
Definitely. So, hey guys, we're gonna take things over to the after hours now. We have t-shirts over at libertariancountry.com. If you use the code PRL, you'll receive a 10% discount. If you spend $50 or more and use the code PRL2, you'll receive a 20% discount. This podcast is brought to you in part by Conversations About Freedom podcast, hosted by Immoral Bob. Until next time, live free.